Hey everybody, my name is Axel Villamil. We're here on 24 Shades of Blue with the amazing Kimberly O'Toole. She's going to put you to school. She's the unit commander, superintendent of the Toronto Police College. Welcome.
Thank you.
Amazing to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We're excited for this one because we're going to see how, all the training involved. We're going to learn about that and everything that you do to help prepare the officers, to get out there. So let's go right off the bat. What is the difference between Toronto Police College and Ontario Police College?
So really good question. The Ontario Police College is a facility in Elmer, Ontario, where all potential police constables have to attend for training. And I say potential because you have to pass the curriculum. There's a 75% pass rate standard. So if you wanted to apply to be a police officer anywhere in Ontario, you would be required to complete a basic constable training certificate from the Ontario Police College, which then would allow you to become a police officer in the province of Ontario. So we at the Toronto Police Service, we have our recruits attend our college for 3 weeks in preparation of the Ontario Police College. They go to the Ontario Police College for 12 weeks, and then they return to us where we train them for an additional 9 weeks.
You're like prep school and Harvard all at the same time, essentially. That's what it sounds like.
A little bit.
Is there prestige when, people say, no, I went to Toronto Police College?
I'm a little bit biased. I think there's prestige with our service at all levels. So probably not a good question to ask me because I'm going to say yes every time. But yes, we often have, because of the size of our service, we often have really large classes attend the Ontario Police College. So at some points, depending on how many recruits we have there, it could seem like, we're taking over there because they have over 400 recruits there at a time. I think the last intake was about 480. And at times we have, well over 100 Toronto police officers that are being trained there. So you walk down the hall and you see Toronto everywhere.
Oh, I can only imagine. So when, if I am this aspiring officer to get into Toronto Police College, the Harvard, what is that application process like?
So it's actually quite a long process. We work very closely with our partners at Talent Acquisition. Superintendent Lisa Crooker, who is in charge of that unit now, has an amazing working relationship with us at the college. And they take you through a fitness test. Then you do an application. Then you do a series of testing to determine suitability. And then when you get to the background phase, if you pass the testing, you get to the background phase. They do a very thorough background check on you, your associates, including your family, where you've gone to school. They talk to your friends. Once you pass the background, then they provide you with a conditional offer of employment. And that's when you come to us at the college.
Wow.
So we work with Talent Acquisition and with Superintendent Crooker and her team to make sure that everyone that is in the application process is physically fit. Mm-hmm. There's a standard at the Ontario Police College that you must meet. And we had found in the past that when our Talent Acquisition was actually hiring, we weren't testing at the outset. So then people would come to us, they would be at that standard, and they'd go to the Ontario Police College rather, and some would have difficulty in passing. So some of the things that have changed since Lisa took over that unit is that we've instituted physical fitness testing at the outset before they even look at your application.
Wow.
You have to pass the physical, you have to meet that standard, and then they'll start with your application process because we have thousands and thousands of applications for sometimes, 200 spots a year. So
is it a mass fitness test that you do?
So it's a shuttle run.
Okay.
It's otherwise known as the beep test.
Yeah.
And anyone in police and security or wanting to become a police officer will know immediately when you say the beep test, they'll cringe and they'll say, oh, yeah, the beep test. You have to get to a level 7, which is your VO2 max, and it is required for the physical fitness testing that you do at the Ontario Police College. You have to do the shuttle run, And then you have to do the prep test, which is an obstacle course, which simulates a foot chase.
Okay.
So if you had to chase someone, if you had to hop over a wall, if you had to go up and down stairs, and then if you had to handcuff someone, and you have to do the prep test in 2 minutes and 37 seconds or under.
Wow.
In addition to the shuttle run. So you have to be tremendously fit. That's a requirement of the Ontario Police College. To get your basic constable training certificate, you have to pass the physical.
I mean, I've seen the officers that are here.
Super fit.
Super fit.
Super
I'm
fit.
like, what are we running? The Olympics? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, super fit. So we want to set our applicants up for success. And the best way to do that is have that physical test at the outset to make sure they're right where they need to be before they start the long application process. It's a lot of time, money, and effort for our talent acquisition team to engage with an applicant. So we want to make sure everyone's ready.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So what is the difference in curriculum? I guess what you're learning with the Toronto Police College, I guess from before and then after you come back versus what just the Ontario Police College gives you?
So what we do for our recruits in the first 3 weeks that they come to our college is we sort them out uniform wise. We make sure they have everything. They build their belt. We have a class where they put all of their use of force options on their belt. They learn how, where everything goes so that if they have to replace it and or get a new belt, they know exactly where it goes. We spend a lot of time familiarizing them with the Ontario Police College itself, what the curriculum will be like, how it's taught. Some people coming to the Toronto Police Service, it's their second career. Some people come very late in life. We've had 50-year-olds join the Toronto Police Service in the past. So for them, for some, it's a long time since you've been in school, right? So what we do is we teach a masterclass how to be a student. So we have
that's cool.
One of our training constables, his name is Lionel. He has a master's in education, and he saw the need for people that hadn't been in school in a long time. It's very intense training, 12 weeks. It is from the time you get up in the morning to very late in the evening. You are either doing training and or studying. And to make sure that our people were set up for success, he created this class. So it teaches you what is it like to be a student again, and how do you study, but more particularly, how do you study in that intense environment when you are doing police vehicle operation training, you are doing firearms related training, you're doing officer safety related training, you're doing defensive tactics training, plus all of the academic training. You're learning about the Highway Traffic Act, you're learning about provincial offenses, you're learning about the criminal code and your authorities and powers of arrest. And then you're doing scenarios with all of that combined to put all of your skills to test to make sure that you're understanding and you're learning and developing. So we found really, really good success with Lionel running this masterclass. That section is our community policing section. It's run by Staff Sergeant Janine Crowley, who does an amazing job with her team. And quite sadly for us as an organization, she is retiring on July 1st. So she will take almost 33 years of policing experience.
Oh, she's did her
with
job.
Her. Yeah, she's so amazing. And her section works so hard to make sure that our recruits are successful, really invested in getting them up to speed to where they need to be able to study. We have 3 seconded officers that work at the Ontario Police College. They're Toronto police officers, but they are there as long as we are running intakes. They're working there, and they act as our liaisons to our recruits. So if anyone is having trouble with an actual skill or studying one of their major subjects, they're there to help our recruits as well. So it can be a bit of adjustment period.
I bet.
It is full speed ahead the whole time you're there.
I mean, that's what it literally sounds like. Physical law school. That's what it sounds like. You're just like, but like times 12, because there's learning so many different things, having to apply them, how to defend yourself, everything on top of that as well. There's like so many layers, it sounds like. And I feel like that's so taxing on the mind, especially if you're coming late in your life and not being in school for like 30 years. So
yeah, it's also can be really difficult, especially now during COVID and during these times of extreme stress that, people are worried about their families. They're worried about, how are they going to manage at the Ontario Police College, which is 2.5 hours away from here.
Where is it?
In Elmer.
In Elmer, okay.
It is in the middle of what seems like farmers' fields.
Yeah.
So it can be very stressful, and we ask a lot of our recruits, which is why we hire the best and the brightest, because we know what's going to be required of them immediately from the start.
The dedication to your craft, and it's very important.
It is a dedication. It's investment in yourself to make sure that you meet the standard. Our recruits actually pay for their time at the Ontario Police College.
Wow. So
it's a lot of money. It's $14,500 for 12 weeks. Gives you room and board. All of your meals are there on site. So it's a big investment, not only in money, but in time and commitment.
Of course.
So,
doing that can clearly show that you want to do this, right? It's not just like, I'm going to apply and waste, funding's time. And the funding and the time of yourself. Like that process is, I think, very needed because it shows like
you have to be ready.
You have to be ready.
You have to be ready, and you have to be all in, both feet in. Because if you're not, it can be a difficult process.
Now, are the recruits supposed to have some sort of education? Is there a level of education they need before they apply?
So our standard is grade 12, minimum grade 12 education. But as you can imagine, with thousands of applicants, it's a very competitive process. We are hiring people with PhDs. We are hiring people with master's degrees, with...
which you have many of.
Myself? A couple.
No big deal, guys.
A couple. The competition is really stiff. So I would say to anyone out there listening that wants to become a Toronto police officer, if you have high school education, you need to really build your resume up in other areas. So your volunteer work needs to be really strong. Your connection to your community needs to be really strong. You need to be able to compete with everyone else. And by no means do I discourage anyone that has, our minimum requirement. That's what it's there for. It's, if you have that, please apply, but be ready for the competition.
It sounds like I'm applying to university. I'm like thinking back to when I applied, I was like, wow, I needed the volunteer hours to stand out in the application process, right? I didn't, especially, in your case, if I don't have post-secondary education or from another source of curriculum to stand out, it wouldn't make sense. So you need those extra things on the resume to really pop and also keep up with. It sounds like a demanding amount of curriculum.
Yeah, it's a lot. Once you get back into the swing of it, and you understand how the material is delivered, and after the midterms at the Ontario Police College, how you're going to be tested. I think the second part of your training is a bit more manageable in terms of understanding the expectations.
Absolutely.
So
in terms of the training, I know we're talking a lot about theory and knowledge. What about hands-on? How does that work? Is there a lot of more hands-on? Is it just learned in the field? How does that work?
I would say their training is probably maybe 50-50.
Okay.
The applied skills you have to learn. You have to learn how to drive. You have to learn how to drive a police vehicle, which is not just driving a regular car. You have your computer. You have your in-car camera system. You have your partner sitting beside you. You're listening to the radio. You're watching what's in front of you. You're situationally aware. It's a lot happening at one time. And the training that you do at the Ontario Police College, actually, it's very interesting. They do a skill where they put, it almost looks like a walk on the hood of the car, and they put a tennis ball in it.
Oh, so cool.
And so you have to drive and then stop without the tennis ball coming out of the walk on the car. So they teach you to drive in a very controlled manner, safe, controlled, but getting to where you need to get to. So
that's like putting books and walking and like, yeah.
People think it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy.
That sounds very difficult. Because it's funny because I'm thinking from the outside in as like, just a civilian. And I'm going, is it like a car chase situation where they have this crazy defensive driving? But I'm sure there's that to an extent.
We do have that.
But you brought in the finesse that you need at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about the crazy driving. What do you have to do?
Well, we discourage that. We want to follow all the rules of the road under the Highway Traffic Act. We want to stop at all the red lights.
Absolutely.
And we want to be safe. But we have in Toronto at our police vehicle operations training site, we have a driving simulator where each of our recruits is required to pass a suspect apprehension portion of their driving. And you are literally, it's almost like a video game. You're sitting in a chair and there's a big screen in front of you and you are driving on that screen and you have to drive defensively. You have to understand when what you're doing and when you're doing it. So if you're engaging in a pursuit, there's very specific criteria as to when and how you can do that and when you should not do that. So we require our recruits to understand how quickly that can change and how other factors around them will affect their ability to actually engage in a pursuit. So it doesn't happen as much as you think. It's not like TV. Everyone comes to the college and they think it's like TV. It's not like TV at all.
The media ruins us. Come on. This
right?
is why we're having this podcast.
Right? That's like you don't ruin us. Not at all. But when I worked at Homicide, I was a detective at Homicide and everyone always used to say, oh, it's like Law and Order. No, we don't get DNA samples or in 30 seconds and we can't like pull your driver's license photo up from...
You're telling me you can't just commandeer a car and drive?
No, I'm probably ruining it for a lot of people. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's the reality that we need to know.
That is a phenomenon. And in some cases in court, it's been an issue because members of the jury think it should be like it's on TV. Yeah. But that's another discussion for another day.
Of course. Well, like let's go back to like the reality of it all. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts to the college. So as things happen in the world and the circumstances and I guess the environment changes, how does the college, react and dynamically towards those situations? Is there new curriculum, put in every year? Is it like every couple of years? How does that work?
So we review our curriculum every year. And I have been at the college now coming up 3 years. And this year we are doing something very special in terms of our curriculum. Last August, there were 81 recommendations for police reform that were released, and recommendation 52 to 58 apply specifically to us at the college. And so we're taking the opportunity to engage those partners that we don't normally engage with. We have partnerships already established that we engage regularly, but we are participating in a community engagement strategy where we advertise on social media to members of the community who want to participate on panels who can actually assist us in implementing these recommendations, providing feedback and perspective. Lived experience is really important. And one of those recommendations specifically relates to training. So we are putting together a panel of people who have submitted applications, and they will be working with us at the college to make sure that our training is reflective of the community. It's really, really important that what we're teaching our officers, because we don't just teach the recruits, we are the place where all Toronto Police Service members come for training at some point throughout the year. So we have investigative courses, we have applied courses, and then of course we teach our recruits. So it's important to reflect what's happening in our community. And so we're really, really excited about this community engagement strategy. Actually, Heather Nichols, who is the inspector at the college, second in charge, they're having a meeting today. I'm actually on holidays this week.
Oh, well,
so I'm not at work for this meeting, but they are having a meeting today, to get sorted out for our kickoff, with the community. So tremendously excited. We had amazing applicants that want to come forward and really have a say in what happens in their training. And so when we look at our curriculum, we have our academic courses, and then we have our applied skills courses. We have our certification program that happens every year, where every member of the service has to be recertified to the provincial standard for their use of force options. So we take that opportunity to add to that training. And our first day of training, every sworn member, every member that is carries a firearm, carries use of force options, is trained. And we do anti-Black racism training. We do a wellness module. We do a leadership module. We do 15-minute quick plays on updates in case law and recent court rulings, things that our members need to know and be aware of.
Absolutely.
So we take that opportunity in our in-service training program to deliver that.
That's huge. How do you feel about this personally, in terms of like the progress you see, and as well as what do you think this is it means for the future for the college?
Yeah, I think it's really tremendous. You know, my team that work at the college, they're so passionate about what they do and why they do it. It's really, really important that we deliver the best product to the field because we want to make sure that our members, frontline members, and others across the field have all of the tools necessary that they need to do their job to the best that they can do it. So it's really, it's exciting for us to engage the public this way. We've never done it before. And we're hoping to be able to continue it after we satisfy this recommendation, and that will become then a yearly experience with members of the community. And hopefully, you know, we'll have different people that will be interested in coming and contributing. We work a lot right now in terms of developing our de-escalation training with our mental health and addiction panel. I sit on the mental health and addiction panel. It's a Toronto Police Services Board chaired panel, and Jennifer Chambers and Stephen Lurie are the co-chairs of that panel. And the time that I spend on that panel is really valuable to me because I can bring back to our college what's current and what's being discussed. And that panel is made up of service providers, persons with lived experience, and people who work front lines in the field in terms of mental health and addictions. So really tremendous progress that we've made in the last 2 years with that panel. And this community engagement strategy is really just, you know, taking that and building on it.
It's exciting. It's just different avenues of knowledge being put of what we normatively see as like, oh, this is theory. This is what you have to do for the field. But there's so much more that, you know, and you're admitting, you know, that you don't even know that the college is bringing in more knowledge to learn and be better. And it's funny you said as a product, and I laughed because like I know they're humans, but like your job is to make the best of the best.
Yes.
And I think that's I admire that a lot because you're really putting your care. And I did a talk at my old high school, and I told to the teachers when we were on the Zoom like talk, I was like, if it wasn't for you, I don't think we'd all be where we are right now. And it's so important what you do. And I think as much as it's an application for a very difficult job, you are changing lives. So like that's super huge. And speaking about the amazing things that you do, President of Ontario Women in Law Enforcement, can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
So let's talk about, you know, the recruits that are coming out. You know, what's the split between men and women?
So last summer we had our first ever 50-50 parity class, men and women.
Amazing.
Our talent acquisition unit is striving for classes to be reflective of the communities that we serve. So that includes racialized individuals, men, women, people who speak different languages, people who come from different careers in the, you know, prior to coming to policing, so they can bring those skills with them. It's really important that we're reflective of the communities that we serve, because at the end of it, and at my core is service to the community. So I want to make sure that in my role as a police officer, I am compassionate and empathetic and understanding of the people that we are serving in this city. And that's really how we frame at the college our recruit experience. From the minute they step in the doors of our college, that is our message to them.
No, that's amazing. And I mean, you yourself, sounds like obviously you're managing a lot of people and you're doing a lot of things for yourself, hands-on. Can you explain how your personal mentorship with the recruits is and that experience is like?
I mentor some people prior to them even applying.
Wow.
Through my role, Ontario Women Law Enforcement, or through contacts I have, people will call me and say, hey, Kim, can you, this person's looking at a career in policing, can you sit down with them, let them know, what your career's been like, what they can expect, how can you help prep them? So I'm able to do that on occasion to some individuals before they even apply, which I find, such an honor to be able to help someone through that process. And then for them to actually be hired. I teach
talking to the dean.
No, actually, I was just going to say I teach part-time at the University of Guelph Humber, and I have taught there for 13 years. So in the last 3 years since I have been at the college, the number of my students who I actually taught that ended up in classes of recruits is probably around 6, I think, which is amazing to see them walking in the halls of the college in their uniform when, 2 years ago, they were in my class at Guelph Humber.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so good. I'm so happy and so proud for the accomplishments that they have made. We really try to make it a very open and inviting environment for our recruits to be able to get to know their instructors and to be able to ask the questions that, they've been wanting to ask for a long, long time. We make it so that it is a safe environment where they are able to grow and develop. And the mentorship is so, so important. When we now during COVID, we don't have graduation ceremonies because we can't.
Of course.
So I literally hand them their badge and say, good luck. Don't be a stranger. Make sure you come back and visit. And, 3 weeks later, I see one of them in the cafeteria or at the college because they're on a course 6 months later, and they come and they see myself, they see Heather, the inspector, they see Janine, Staff Sergeant Crowley. She impacts their lives in ways that is like truly, literally life-changing. And they're so indebted to her. The cards with thanks that she gets from the recruit classes, really tremendous. So we as a collective have the opportunity to mentor and really impact these recruits in their training to prepare them to go into the field and have an amazing career and serve their community, in a way that many of them have dreamt of. This is a dream job for so many. So it's really an honor. It's really, really, I'm finding it difficult to find the words. And if anyone's watching this that knows me, they're probably thinking that's not true because I have all the words all the time.
But it's good because it brings out an emotion. Like it's something, it shows everybody here that you care about your job. You are passionate about what you do. And I think that's what I think the public needs to know, is that it's not just black and white. It's something that you care about. And these are people achieving a dream, achieving, a goal. And it's huge in what you do. So in terms of, I guess, closing points, what is, does a Toronto Police College work with any organizations that we can shout out or talk about?
The Toronto Police College works with so many partners. We work very closely with the City of Toronto, the CABER unit there. We work with Matt Dewar. They provide community connections to us. We have a list of 32 community agencies that we work with regularly. It really takes a village. And we bring the people together to be able to put together this amazing training for for our recruits. So we're extremely grateful for our partners, and they really truly value their input and their contribution to the development of our curriculum. So, we certainly couldn't do it by ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there any last words you want to say to anybody, to the recruits, anybody you'd like?
Yeah. So we have June 4th, we have a class graduating. They will be deployed to the field and leaving the college. And that will be Janine, Staff Sergeant Crowley's last class as the Staff Sergeant in charge of recruits. So it's going to be really a touching moment for her. I wish, all of our recruits the very best of luck. They go on and they do amazing things. We had a week after one recruit graduated, delivered a baby. A week after another recruit graduated, did CPR and saved a life. Really tremendous, amazing things. And so, I'm happy to be a part of that with my team at the forefront.
Amazing. Well, thanks for changing lives every day. Guys, everybody, that was Kimberly. I'm Axel, and that's 24 Shades of Blue. We're out.